But I guess now we can pivot to the question that's on everybody's minds. What's Cody's ceiling in WWE if he goes there? When can we expect to see him? I mean, certainly WrestleMania is still absolutely on the table. Hell, Elimination Chamber theoretically is on the table.
Heck, tonight in NXT to present the winners of the Dusty Cup with a trophy. Apparently there's no non-compete. If he wanted to show up there tonight, he could. I'd be pretty darn surprised if his WWE re-debut was to hand MSK or Creed Brothers with the trophy. They probably want to have his first appearance back be something a bit more impactful than that. So is that at Elimination Chamber this weekend? Are they going to wait and have him debut on Raw to build to a feud for WrestleMania? Don't know. As far as his ceiling, I mean, it's hard to tell. Everything's based on the whims of a 75-year-old man. Mm-hmm. Now, if he thinks that this Cody leaving AEW to go to WWE is a huge get for WWE, and he's motivated, Vince that is motivated to take advantage of that, then you got to push him in a major way right away. You have him show up on TV as soon as possible. You don't delay. You don't have a Bret Hart situation after Survivor Series 97. Not there so you could compare Bret with Cody's situation. Not comparable in any way in terms of them leaving the company, but in terms of having a hot free agent show up in your company, you want them there as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
To take advantage of that buzz. But who was it in chat that mentioned
was it
Cody?
Was it Jano?
Jano mentioned, and this feud makes all the sense. Cody and Brandy versus Miz and Maurice at WrestleMania.
Well,
now is that taking advantage of the buzz? I don't know.
It's a crazy name in your programming. Because look, he could show up at Elimination Chamber, and I think Cody ain't bigger than Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is probably still going to win that title at WrestleMania. But you know what? You know what Cody and Brandy versus Miz and Maurice at WrestleMania does? It says AEW's top guy is worth a mid-card mixed tag match in WWE. That's what it does. And it's not saying, and this is probably why they wouldn't put that WWE title on him, because it doesn't say, AEW's top guy is on par with the top guy on WWE Raw.
Yeah.
Now, again, if Cody wanted just wrestling is a lot more simple, I think, than sometimes we give it. We want it to be. Cody probably wants, he probably said, "Hey, Tony, I created this with you. I was one of the people who helped get you where you are. I deserve a big bag and EVP status." Maybe Tony's looked back on the past 2 years and said, "You know what? You can't peacefully coexist with the other EVPs. They have more influence on me." I mean, he wouldn't say that. But I'm sorry, you're not worth that money. And maybe he didn't even want him to be EVP anymore. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I mean, if you see what Cody's done on screen, it hasn't really been all that impressive. It hasn't been. I have no idea what he does backstage.
Not consistently. I mean, there's been stretches where he's done really good work.
There's been stretches when it's been really good, but I just wonder if, I don't know. There seems to be some sort of conflict there where Tony doesn't feel like he's worth it. Cody's just, okay, well, fine. Let me go to WWE. Hey, look, can I just get an assurance that I'm not going to be Stardust? Can you at least treat me on par, and I don't think this is unreasonable, as you do Edge? Edge is back part-time, but he kind of doesn't feel part-time because he's there a lot.
He is there a lot.
But he's in situations where you can take advantage of, Cody has been gone for a long time, so there's fresh matchups for him there. Mix him up. That whole scene on Raw, everybody up here, not Lesnar, but Lashley, the new guy, Austin Theory, Riddle, Orton still, Kevin Owens, Seth. Those are all good matchups for Cody Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, at WrestleMania, the top AEW guy in a mixed tag match with Miz and Maurice, which, by the way, would be an entertaining match. It'd probably be an entertaining feud.
It could be, yeah.
Kind of makes a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense. And I understand your perspective from WWE looking at bringing in one of AEW's top guys and putting him in a mid-card match at WrestleMania. At the same time, I understand Cody's probably, if he's going to WWE, one of the things he's looking for is to get paid. He's getting up in there in years. Maybe this is one of his last contracts he plans on signing, and he wants to maximize the money he can get out of it, which more power to him. You know, you only got so many years you can wrestle maximize your money making potential while you're doing it. But at the same time, he's leaving AEW as one of their top guys. Would he be content making a huge paycheck just to be another upper mid-carder in WWE?
Yeah.
Would that be satisfying to him?
Yes.
As someone who says he likes to write his own music or something.
He likes to write
that.
his own music. Yeah. Well, he wrote his own music for like 3 years, and then he found out that unless you're a billionaire, you can't really make your own music. You know, I mean, that's kind of the truth, unfortunately, is that you make your own music and you encounter a billionaire who says, hey, I'll, we can make music together. And then he's like, yeah, I don't really want you around anymore, so I'm not going to pay you the money that you think you're worth. You go to WWE, and I don't know. Hey, honestly, one thing of it, what has changed recently in Cody's life? He's a dad.
Yep.
He's a dad. And look how that affected Kevin Owens. Well, I got a family now. So instead of like I would have maybe in my early 30s or late 20s, go hang out with my friends in AEW. No, I'm gonna solidify my financial base. Cody would probably look at Edge. Anybody would look at Edge and say, if I can get that spot, that seems all right. That seems pretty good. If he can have everything Edge has had over the past couple of years, that awesome feud with Orton where they did the greatest match of all time. Mm-hmm. They did that really long, no false count anywhere match, all that kind of goofy stuff. The stuff with Miz and Maurice just now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you can't, as a wrestler, I don't think that any wrestler realistically goes into any situation and says, not these, unless you're Hulk Hogan back like 20 years ago and says, I'm going to be the title guy. I want to be that. No, hell, Cody wrote himself out of the title scene. Now, somebody here in chat had a great idea, and this is actually a terrific idea. If they're smart, what they would do is stick Cody on SmackDown and have him make that IC title relevant. He would probably be into that, but I don't know that they care about that kind of shit, you know?
I don't know, because that's WWE over the last year, they focused basically 90% of the creative energy on one story, and that's Brock versus Roman Reigns.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of developing true main eventers over the last year or so, there's two names, Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns.
Yeah, sure.
In the men's division,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Like there's plenty of great talent and plenty of people that could be elevated that position. They just don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't done it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lashley is at the precipice of joining that level of Lesnar and Roman. And if he were to win Elimination Chamber, I think, yeah, you'd think, okay, he's at that level.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to win the match, unfortunately, though.
Yeah.
Lesnar's going to get that title back.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Yeah.
Because WWE is just all in on those two guys right now. And if Cody thinks he's going to go to WWE and thinks, okay, I'm going to be a main eventer now.
That's not going to happen. There's one.
Not going to happen in the short term. No.
There are two legitimate main eventers in the men's division, and that's Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. You're absolutely right. You're 100% correct. I think Cody's probably realistic about that. He's like, you know what? I'm going to get paid, and I want some. I mean, he'd have to get some assurance that he's not going to be stardusted out. But at the same time, if he knows that WWE is going to pay him a bunch of money to be the AEW guy, he probably understands, okay, well, we're going to WWE, they don't chump out people who make a ton of money. They'll release them sometimes, but yeah. I don't think that they're going to put them on the bench if they're making that much money. I mean, there's not much of a history of it. So I think that he's probably realistic. And if he can get a role that's similar to what Edge has, which might include put him on SmackDown in May or June.
Or the summer.
Well, hell, it doesn't even have to be SmackDown if Roman's going to have both the titles.
Yeah.
Yeah, he works a program with Roman. He loses like everybody else does, but he's in the main event, and then he sinks back down to feuds with Rollins, Orton, Riddle. There's a ton of names. There's a ton of names in WWE that are treated pretty AJ Styles, that are treated pretty decently, that are high-profile upper mid-card feuds that he'd totally be fine with. That's my thought. I mean, if you can't. Not everybody can be the top guy in a WWE. Like you said, there are two top guys, and that's it.
There's two top guys, and they don't really care to spend much energy or time, seemingly, to develop anybody else consistently and completely. Because, like I said, Lashley's on the verge of it, but unless he wins the chamber match, I don't feel like he's going to enter that upper echelon.
Yeah, but I mean, Cody, he really has built himself to the point where he can come out. He can work that crowd really, really well. Again, I see a lot of parallels between him and Edge. I think that could be the thing where he says, okay, I can fulfill that role as well. Maybe Edge is on Raw, you put Cody on SmackDown, and Cody can sort of be that role on SmackDown as well. Yeah, I think that's probably. I think anybody would be happy with that.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Stone Cold Steve Austin impersonator Phil McDonald here to tell you to go support Going In Raw and Friendo Club at patreon.com/Steven Larson. They got bonus episodes, ad-free audio, a weekly newsletter rounding up the weekend wrestling news, and a bunch more. Patreon.com/Steven Larson. Go support or get hit with a stunner.